All right, Tiger Wolf. This is Tiger.
I'm Tiger.
This is Wolf.
Nathan Wolfie.
As you can see, there are no Super Nintendo pixels, no 16-bit characters. We're inspired to do what teenage girls do.
That's right, teenage girls. And I was like, hey, Nathan, we should do what teenage girls do, because they're pretty popular on YouTube. And one of the things they do is haul videos.
Which I'd never heard of before.
So we watched a lot of Bethany Moda and some other really inspiring YouTubers. And they taught us all about how to buy makeup, and then what to do with it, and then to show you guys what we got. And then I think that's about it. I didn't really learn much. I definitely glazed over.
This is us doing that.
Yeah,
this is Tiger Wolf doing haul videos.
Yeah, so we decided what would our version of a haul video be. So our version of a haul video would be what we used to do when we were teenage girls. Right?
Yeah.
That's right.
We would go to Burger King and snack on condiments.
We'd get one cup, and then we'd fill it with soda pop, and then we'd share it.
We would eat a lot of...
We didn't have any money at the time.
No money.
You should get jobs when you're teenagers, people.
I recommend
Jobs.
it.
Not sit on YouTube. You don't make any money unless you're PewDiePie. Just saying.
Unless you're very successfully putting up YouTube videos.
Unless you're very successfully PewDiePie.
Yeah. We used to eat a lot of caramels and go for exceptionally long walks.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds kind of romantic when I say it now.
It does.
Yeah.
Actually, there was no kissing involved.
No.
So
thankfully. Or
that's
hand holding.
good. That's good.
We used to play made-up games
That's
in
right.
a laundry room.
Yep. Stacks. We talked about stacks before.
Yeah. We also really enjoyed going to the local thrift stores.
Yeah, to see what kind of wonderful crap we could find.
Because again, we had no money, and you could find t-shirts for 50 cents.
Yeah, at the time, which can't now. Because
no.
now they're cool and cost like $9.99.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Which is too bad.
You can still find a lot of great treasures going to secondhand thrift shops.
Mm-hmm.
So our haul video is doing exactly that.
Except with a twist. Do you know what the twist is?
I don't think I do.
Well, the twist is we don't know what we bought.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to surprise Nathan with what I bought from the thrift store.
Mm-hmm.
And Nathan's going to surprise me with what he bought at the thrift store. And I'm really excited about this.
Do you want to go first? Since you're so excited?
I don't know. Should we rock, scissors, paper it?
Okay.
Ready? Oh, you won.
Okay, you. Okay, the first item is, since we're talking about things that we used to do back in the day, I'm going to pick with something that harkens from back in that same era.
Yes, okay.
Do you remember the old X-Men cartoon?
Yes, I do. Have you seen the video from X-Men cartoon where Wolverine versus Alpha Flight?
No.
If you haven't, you should check it out. It's amazing.
What do you mean
We
video?
will link to it in the description thing underneath the bottom. It'll be like a video like this. I'll put it below. It's really good.
There's a certain amount of nostalgia attached to referencing anything from that era, but I also find the art from that era to be quite over the top and
Yes.
kind of funny. So I've got a deck of playing cards.
Oh.
That, I mean, X-Men was huge in the 90s, right? They were bigger than anything else. So I have a deck of playing cards from the Xavier Institute for Higher Learning. And
Wow.
you can see they push characters that were very popular at the time, like Jubilee, who I think is
Excellent.
nobody's favorite X-Men. There's a lot of very 90s style costumes that are no longer current because they're just not very cool anymore.
What do you mean they're not cool?
So
Just a second. While Nathan's talking about this, I'm going to let the cat back inside.
at the time, comics sold like gangbusters then, and nothing was bigger than X-Men. When Jim Lee and I can't remember who else came out with the first X-Men, that was the highest selling comic by a mile.
Oh, it was around the time of Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man.
Well, Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man surpassed that, I think, but they were selling over a million issues at a time, which nowadays if you sell 30,000 issues, you're doing really well.
Comics still sell?
There was an 80s version of X-Men too that was pretty funny mostly because Wolverine had an Australian accent.
He's a Canuck.
He was on Alpha Flight before he was an X-Men.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Even though it was kind of retconned.
Well,
He is sort of kind of X-Men first, really.
they've retconned a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So when we came up with this idea, it was Christmas. You know, we wanted some set. We wanted some pretty things behind it. And I thought it'd be really nice if we could put like fancy lights behind us. Well, if you see, look, they're fancy. They got sparkly flowers on them. Look at that. Isn't that amazing?
And looks like there's about 10 lights on that.
That's right.
On that whole thing.
Oh no, one came off. Oh, crud.
Now I get to be fancy.
Okay. And we're back.
The lights.
So look at how fancy this shot looks now. Wait, where'd you go for your stuff? Did you go to one thrift store or did you go to multiple?
Mostly just Salvation Army. And I think I just found the X-Men cards kicking around somewhere. I can't remember where exactly. Yeah.
Kind of cheating.
Well,
Bethany Moda wouldn't have done that.
that's my like lifetime supply of thrift store shopping.
Okay, well, fine. What did you actually buy for this time?
Well, this is something I found at Salvation Army. Some wonderful.
Which one?
Thimbles. Which store?
Yeah.
Salvation Army in
Which
Rutland.
one? There's multiple.
Is it?
Rutland.
Yeah. Rutland's where the real good ones.
Rutland. It's the place where dreams come true in Kelowna.
So we have a series of thimbles with dogs on them. We have, again, I'll show a close-up of this for everybody. We have St. Bernard here, and a Cocker Spaniel, and a German Shepherd, and an Irish Setter.
Well, that's special.
Scottish Terrier.
I've actually been really thinking like I need to protect my thumbs at work. So this is really helpful.
Is that what it's for? Is it for sewing?
Kat says no.
That's my stomach.
I figured our audience may be from around the world, judging by who listens to the podcast. So for those of you around the world listening and watching from the United Kingdom and from Australia and Japan and India and Turkey, we thought you guys don't necessarily have the privilege of all the Canadian crap that we have the privilege of seeing. So I got this book, which is it's Canadian, eh? I think it's an educational book with illustrations by Isaac Bickerstaff. Over 100,000 copies of this have been sold. So I'm going to educate you to see if you know some of these helpful Canadian words.
I'm looking forward to it.
Kiri. You know what that means?
No.
To convey or transport. As in, carry me back to the old Moose Jaw.
Huh? I hate this book already.
Have you ever been to Niagara Falls?
Oh boy. I have not, no.
Do you know your geography? That's geography.
The whole book is like Nate's getting into his dumb hicks, basically.
Sir John, eh? Canadian, eh? What do you got? Top that, Wolf.
I'll do my best. I have something else.
Bring it!
This will also provide some education for yourself.
Bring it!
It's your very own...
I'm gonna win this.
Ultimate pub quiz. I'm not really competing. So,
I just wanted to make it more competitive to raise the stakes. Because Bethany Moda wouldn't do that. We're trying to raise the bar.
I don't know what that is.
Whoa.
I don't know what a lot of this stuff is.
Whoa.
There's scorecards.
Oh, they're like made of like very heavy duty cardboard.
Yeah, it's not a bad quality. But, I mean, look at these sweet, some nice pub quiz pens.
Awesome. Right on. Team C Joker.
There's a CD-ROM.
A CD-ROM? Teach me the rules,
here for you.
and I'll write down the answers.
What theme do you want? What kind of area? We've got, you want to pop music? Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, I'm going to win that. Yeah.
Okay, let's get to pop music.
What number is this? 1 through 8.
I guess we're on round 1.
Round 1.
Okay. Which, who did Madonna sing 4 Minutes with?
I can't give away my answer. Okay. I'll bring it to the camera for you.
Okay, in this case, I'm gonna swap genres.
Bethany Moda.
Probably not. Like, what's the answer? It's Justin Timberlake.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, this is more current than I thought.
It's okay because I win.
So round 2, we're gonna do famous Britons. Also for
like
one.
as in plural of Great Britain.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little slow.
Which Wessex king built a navy and finally defeated the Vikings in the late 9th century?
Sorry, wait. Wessex?
Which Wessex?
Wessex?
Yeah. Am I saying that wrong?
I don't think so.
Pick your favorite Wessex king.
My favorite Wessex king. King. King Wessex.
The answer is David Beckham. Oh, let's
I don't
try
like this game anymore. I'm not winning.
one more on.
I mean, I'm always winning.
Love and marriage. So we give you a hubby, you give us a spouse. Tom Cruise's second wife.
Bethany Moda.
You are correct.
Excellent. Nice work.
So there we are. That's,
1 point.
that's the pub quiz.
I win. So I also went to the Salvation Army, but I went to the brand new Salvation Army on the west side. I found this item called Centos. It's got a. It's also Christmas themed. It's a little sticky, actually. I will confess, but it's scented bubbles. 2013 out of Fort Worth, Texas, but is made in Ningbo, China.
Mm-hmm, of course.
So it's Centos with a yellow O, and everything else in white text. And this is pine flavored. So, can you smell the pine freshness?
I can't. Well,
Breathe it in.
freshness, but I can smell
Breathe it
the simulated pine
Breathe
flavor.
it. You're making it very hard to blow bubbles. Next up on my list is a. I figured that Nathan and I love games, so I was like, you know what, we got to get something that we can actually play together. I found a game called Willy Fish. Or Wily Fish. It's a magic square, and the tagline says, "Seems easy? Question mark. Not quite. Have fun."
That does not entice me to play.
And it's for ages 6 to 99.
Oh.
The object of the game is to arrange the card in such a way that the heads and the tails of the same color will match. The 9 cards must form a square. Seems easy?
Got a match. I win.
Not quite. Okay, so that was that one. And I wanted to round the whole thing off with the music that we've been listening to in the background of this video today. You know, whenever I go to a thrift store, I like to look for music, because I think that's the best thing to do at a thrift store. Because there's things that have been produced on vinyl that will never be produced again, ever, on any kind of other format. So today, for our listening pleasure, we've got a band called the Poketeers play for you, the Poketeers play for your polka party. So there we go, and look at how happy she looks. Doesn't she look so happy?
What are some of the smash hits we have on this?
So it says, let's dance to these hits. Beer Barrel Polka, Pennsylvania Polka, Coal Town Polka, Grandpa Loves the Polka,
Yeah, he does.
Helena Polka, Jukebox Polka, Golden Wedding Polka, some sort of German German polka, Beer and Pretzel Polka, which is different than the Beer Barrel Polka, and Charlie Was a Boxer.
Not polka.
For one bonus round, I wanted to show you one of my favorite thrift store hauls of all time. This was, and I still have the original receipt for this. This is Cavallero with that Latin beat. Look at that. Look at how crazy she's going with that Latin beat.
Go for it.
And I think what's interesting about this LP, and why I kept the receipt, is this was actually, I bought this at the thrift store that is basically a block and a half away from Kurt Cobain's childhood home.
Oh, really?
I think this is what introduced Kurt to thrifting. So if YouTube was around, Kurt would have been probably thrifting by now.
Mm-hmm. You can draw a direct line between this and his cardigans.
So this is what started it all right here.
And that's what's going to end it all for this video cast.
And that's it. So if there's any other fabulous thrift stores that you guys would recommend that we'd like to check out, suggestions, comments, and we might reply. I'll probably reply. Nathan will.
I'll see it.
Nathan will look at it.
Yeah. I'll be like, oh look, Chris replied to something.
Isn't that cool? So thanks guys and girls, and we'll see you later. Bye.